The 2023 want to look at inner details of the marking scheme and why students failed and the reasons they failed and their strength and weakness. Let's move on to the first question. And the first question name the disease that is caused by the following microorganisms, and A, that is entamoeba histolytica, that is amoebic dysentery or amoebiasis. Then B, Plasmodium ovale, that is malaria, and it is a protozoan, the same to entamoeba histolytica. It is a protozoan causing amoebic dysentery and Plasmodium ovale causing malaria. And apart from that, we have different microorganisms. For example, the Plasmodium falciparum, vivax, and malariae. They all cause malaria. Then we also have bacterial microorganisms which cause diseases. For example, Bordetella pertussis, which causes whooping cough. We have Vibrio cholerae, which causes cholera. We have very many diseases caused by different microorganisms ranging from bacteria, protozoa, to viruses, and to fungi. Let's move to question 2. And question 2, state 2 sites in animals where counter current flow fluids occurs. And before you answer the question, you need to understand what is counter current flow. And counter current flow, it is a flow which involves fluids moving towards the opposite direction. Towards the opposite direction, and it occurs in the kidney tubules, or specifically the nephron or the loop of Henle. Then we also have the gill filaments in a bony fish. Then we also have the placenta. And the countercurrent flow is important simply because it provides a steep concentration gradient for maximum exchange of, for example, gases in the gill filaments. Then Kcse for maximum exchange of materials, for example, in the placenta. Explain the significance of the countercurrent flow system in living organisms, and that is to maintain steep concentration gradient for efficient or faster or optimum or maximum exchange of materials. Question 3. The following diagram represents parts of a female reproductive system. Identify the part labeled F, and the part labeled F is the birth canal or the vagina. Then explain the structural adaptation of part labeled E to its function. And this is the part labeled E. That is the wall of the uterus. And it is lined with thick muscles, or it is muscular, to allow expansion for accommodating fetus, and also to allow contraction during childbirth. Then use letter H to label on the diagram the part where ectopic pregnancy is likely to occur. And the part where ectopic pregnancy is likely to occur, that is the oviduct or the fallopian tube. It is here. Fallopian tube is located here. That is the fallopian tube. And the ectopic pregnancy, we can describe it as when the sperm and the ovum are fused to form a fertilized egg, which divides by mitosis to form a blastocyst. This blastocyst needs to move to the uterine wall here and get attached through a process called implantation. But in that case, in the case of ectopic pregnancy, it fails and it implants itself at the wall of the oviduct, that is ectopic pregnancy, and if not taken care of, it can lead to severe pains and even death. Then question 4, the diagram represents a skull of a certain mammal. Say the likely mode of nutrition for the animal from which the skull was obtained, and that is a carnivorous mode of nutrition. Reason: long pointed sharp canines for tearing flesh, as you can see, canines for tearing flesh. Then we have molars and premolars with cusps for crushing bones. You can see the molars here and premolars with cusps for crushing bones. Then carnassial teeth, and the carnassial teeth are just molars and premolars which are modified with sharp edges for crushing bones and slicing through flesh. Then sharp incisors for biting or cutting flesh. Question 5. Students observed that the smell from a decomposing animal carcass was stronger at midday than early in the morning. Name the physiological process by which the smell reached the students, and that is diffusion. Part B, account for the observation made by the students. The temperatures are high at midday, which increases the rate of diffusion of the rate of movement of air molecules from the decomposing carcass. Then question 6. State 2 ways in which sweating is significant to the human body, and it is significant through osmoregulation because salts and water are balanced. Then excretion of waste, and that is the urea, the excess water, excess salts are removed. Then body temperature regulation, or it cools the body when hot, and that is when water evaporates from the sweat, leaving a cooling effect. Question 7. State 3 characteristics of the kingdom Monera that are not found in kingdom Animalia. And the kingdom Monera has members which include bacteria, and they have unique features which are not found in kingdom Animalia. The first one, prokaryotic, and prokaryotic means the nuclear membrane is lacking from the nucleus, or the cell organelles are not enclosed or enveloped by membranes. Then second one, they possess a cell wall which is made up of murine, while in kingdom Animalia they only have the cell membrane. Then they are unicellular. Then they have a few organelles or lack most cell organelles. Next, question 8. The following diagram illustrates a setup to investigate a certain physiological process. The setup was left undisturbed for 10 minutes. You can look at the setup. We have a string whisking tubing with concentrated salt solution, the distilled water. We have a beaker. Name the physiological process under investigation, and that is osmosis. So the observations made after 10 minutes. The whisking tubing swelled more, or we can say it expanded, and the level of water in the beaker dropped. Then part C, account for the observation made above. In 8b, the water in the beaker is hypotonic compared to the salt solution in the whisking tubing. Remember, the salt solution is hypertonic, while the water in the beaker is hypotonic. So the water molecules move into the whisking tubing, which is semi-permeable, thus making it to swell. Question 9. In genetic study, a pure breeding black bull was crossed with a pure breeding white heifer. All the offsprings were black. Account for the black color phenotype in all the offsprings. And in this case, the gene for black color coat was dominant over the gene for white color coat. Or you can say the black color is dominant over the white color. And that is a complete dominance. And in the complete dominance, we have two types of genes, a dominant gene and a recessive gene. And the dominant gene is completely dominant over the recessive gene. Phenotypically, the dominant gene is expressed. Then part B, work out the genotypic ratio of the offsprings if the pure breeding black bull was crossed with a female heterogeneous for the color. And heterogeneous, it means it has the different genes, for example, a dominant gene and a recessive gene. In this case, it is here. Then pure breeding, it is purely dominant, purely homozygous dominant, homozygous meaning same, in this case dominant. Then the cross must be there. Then the circles must be complete because they carry the gametes. The gametes, capital B. Then the lines should not pierce through the gametes. Then we have fusion. And these are the genotypes of the offsprings. Then they've said the genotypic ratio, that is 1 homozygous B to 1 heterozygous BB. You can use a Punnett square, which shows this is a bull, pure breeding black bull. Then this one is a heterogeneous female. A cross must be there. Then the symbols, this symbol is for male, so the male having a dominant gene should be this side. Then the female, symbol for female here, this one is heterozygous, should be B capital, B small. Then we get the genotypes of the offsprings here. Then the ratio must be there because they've asked the genotypic ratio 1 to 1. Question 10. Account for the following observations. When the pancreatic duct of a mammal is blocked, blood sugar level or regulation remains normal while digestion is impaired. And in this case, the pancreas secretes both insulin and glucagon hormone and the pancreatic juice. That's why it is called a dual gland. And the insulin and glucagon, which are hormones, they diffuse directly through the bloodstream to regulate sugar level. But digestion is impaired because the pancreatic juice must pass through the pancreatic duct to reach the duodenum or digestive tract. Then part B, most desert animals have longer loops of Henle. And in this case, the desert animals must conserve water because we have very little water. And the longer loop of Henle increases surface area for reabsorption of water, resulting into release of less and more concentrated urine. And this enables the animal to conserve water, or the desert environments have the shortage of water. Question 11. The following diagrams represent beaks of different birds. Part A, state the type of evolution illustrated by the diagrams. As you can see, the beaks are modified to different habitats or environments and to feeding different feeds. And that is divergent evolution, from the word diverge. Part B, explain the significance of the type of evolution stated above. And the beak enables the birds to exploit different niches or habitats or environments to reduce competition for food. Then question 12. The following equation represents a certain metabolic reaction taking place in animal cells. You can see we have the glucose, oxygen, product carbon dioxide, water, and energy. And this basically it is a respiration. Name the organelle where the reaction occurs, and that is the mitochondria. Calculate the respiratory quotient of the substrate being oxidized, and respiratory quotient is equals to volume of carbon dioxide produced over the volume of oxygen used. The volume of carbon dioxide produced is 18, and the volume of oxygen used is 26. That is 18 over 26. You get 0.6923, and when writing, you must make sure write at least two decimal points, that is 0.6923. Identify the substrate being oxidized in the reaction, and that is the fats or the lipids or the oils. And maybe if it were carbohydrates, it will be 1, then potency is always 0.9. Part C, state 2 factors other than oxygen concentration that can affect the rate of the illustrated reaction. Number 1, we have temperature. Number 2, substrate concentration. We have pH. We have the age or activity, then body size, and that is surface area to volume ratio. And we also have hormones. Next question, 13. The following diagram illustrates a neuron. Identify the neuron, and the neuron is the relay neuron or intermediate neuron. Give a reason for your answer, and this is because it lacks the Schwann cells and also lacks the myelin sheath. As you can look, it lacks the myelin sheath and the Schwann cells. Then part B, Roman 1, name the part labeled P on the diagram. Part P, and the part P, they are dendrites. They are dendrites because the label lines are touching on 2 structures. They are dendrites. Then set the function of the part named in 13b Roman 1 above, the role of dendrites. The role of dendrites is to receive impulses or transmit nerve impulses. And it also makes contact with the neighboring neurons. Question 14. In an experiment, students added some water to a beaker containing maize flour and yeast. The beaker was covered and left on the laboratory bench undisturbed for 3 days. State the aim of the experiment. And the aim of experiment is to investigate anaerobic respiration or fermentation. Part B, set 2 observations made by the students after 3 days. And the beaker content had increased in temperature. There was a frothing or swelling of contents in the beaker. Then we had bubbles of fizzing or effervescence. Then we had a smell and change in color of the beaker contents. Question 15. A. State 2 characteristics likely to be observed in a 25-year-old male incapable of producing enough testosterone. And remember, the testosterone in males is responsible for secondary sexual characteristics. It means the secondary sexual characteristics will be affected, and that is he will have a shallow voice, testes will be smaller, and the penis also, less hairy chest and beards, and also less hair in the armpits and pubic regions, then less muscular. Part B. Name one part in plant where auxins are produced. And the auxins are hormones which work with other hormones or in conjunction with other hormones to bring about growth. And these auxins are produced at the shoot tips and the root tips, specifically at the apical meristems. and the apical meristems are always found at the shoot tips and the root tips. Question 16a. Name the branch of biology that deals with the study of insects, and that is entomology. Part B. Name one piece of apparatus one will use to collect insects for study. You can have a sweep net, specimen bottle, putter, a pair of forceps, a pitfall trap or a bait trap, depending on the type of insect. Question 17. Distinguish between magnification and resolution as used in microscopy. And magnification is the ability to enlarge smaller objects to the desired size for clarity, while resolution is the ability to distinguish between finer details of small objects. Then B, say the significance of the following procedures during the preparation of temporary wet mounts of plant tissues. Number 1, staining. And staining is to enhance clarity of the object or for more visibility, or to make the cell structures more clear, more distinct. Then 2, making thin sections, and that is to allow light penetration. Question 18a. State 2 means through which plants eliminate excess water, and that is through transpiration. And transpiration, describe it as a process by which plants excrete or remove excess water in form of water vapor through stomata, can be through the lenticels. Then guttation, the plants eliminate excess water in form of water vapor through specialized pores called hydrathoids. Part B, explain the significance of hair on the human skin during cold weather. And during cold weather, the erectopili muscles contract to make the hair erect, which traps air between the hair, serving as an insulator, and this helps minimize or reduce heat loss. Question 19. The following diagram represents a stage in the mitotic division of a cell. You can look at we have the chromatids moving towards the opposite poles. We have the spindle fibers have started to shorten. We have centrioles here. Part A, Roman 1, identify the stage of mitosis illustrated, and that is anaphase. Give a reason for your answer in 19A, Roman 1. And the reason, chromatids have separated and they are moving towards the opposite poles. Part B, say the role of centrioles in cell division, and the role is formation of spindle apparatus or the spindle fibers. Next question, question 20. Say the significance of each of the following characteristics of living organisms. Irritability. And irritability, it enables organisms to seek favorable conditions or escape unfavorable conditions like predators or harsh stimuli, for example excess light. Then reproduction, and reproduction guarantees continuity of species or transmission or perpetuation. Or perpetuation is basically continuation of a species. Then apart from that, it ensures a genetic variation or enables genetic variation which enables offsprings to adapt to their environments. Next question, question 21. The following diagram represents a mammalian tooth. Explain the structural adaptation, and adaptation must have the structure modification function for it to qualify as an adaptation. The first one has cusps to facilitate crushing of food. You can look, the cusps are located here for crushing of food. Then has flat, as you can see, flat broad surface provide a large surface area for grinding of food. Then has two roots here, as you can see, to hold the tooth firmly in the jaws. Part B, how does drinking cold water immediately after a meal affect digestion? And cold water lowers the temperature of the gut, and this inactivates enzymes, or it can solidify fats for the oils, which eventually slows digestion. Question 22. Explain the concept of natural selection among organisms in relation to an ecosystem with insufficient food. And the natural selection, as explained by Charles Darwin, there will be competition for food. The unfit individuals, or the individuals which are not well adapted, will lack food or die or perish and get eliminated. Then the fit individuals, or the individuals who are well adapted, will consume the available food and survive and grow to maturity. And when they grow to maturity, they will reproduce. Fit individuals, or individuals who have the qualities that enable them to survive, and they'll pass it to generations. Question 23. The following diagram represents a light microscope. See it. Part A, name the part labeled N, and the part labeled N here, this is the mirror. Say the function of the part labels L and M. Let's look at L. And the L is the coarse adjustment knob, while M is the condenser. They are asking for the role of L, and the coarse adjustment knob move the body tube for longer distances to bring the specimen into a rough focus. Then M, which is the condenser, it concentrates light onto the object or specimen on the stage, onto the object or specimen on the stage. And this was the last question. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe and share and comment. Thank you.